All right, so we're going to talk today about manifest destiny. We've mentioned this word before. What comes to mind? Let's talk about the word manifest. Does anybody know what manifest means? Yes?
This isn't answering your question, but could I have one of these sheets of paper and what?
I sent an emailed one to your mom.
Oh, I definitely didn't get it.
Yeah,
I
I emailed a blank one, and then like a, yeah. So you got
Okay.
that. What does manifest mean? Yeah, don't it?
Yeah, something like to manipulate, to get profits from her to take it.
No. Yes, we will. Anybody over here? What about manifestation? What's a manifestation? Does that sound more familiar? Ever hear that word? What? In the Bible, a manifestation? Okay. That's the only place I ever hear it. A manifestation is a sort of revelation or a revealing. It's like an unveiling, an uncovering of something would be a manifestation, or an appearing of something. In fact, that's kind of what we're celebrating this time of year, right? Is God manifest in the flesh, revealed or shown in the flesh. And so if something is manifest, it's revealed or shown. Right? What about destiny? What about destiny? What comes to mind when you hear the word destiny? Luke? The future, okay. Just the future in general? Yes, Sam. Darth Vader comes to mind, certainly. Yes. Darth Vader comes to mind because he claims to know Luke Skywalker's destiny, doesn't he? He says that you will join the dark side. It is your destiny. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Game destiny too.
Cool. All right. A game. Yeah. And since I don't know anything about that game, I won't comment on how that actually connects, but I'm sure it does. Okay, cool. Well, destiny does certainly relate to the future, and when Darth Vader says that Luke Skywalker's destiny is to turn to the dark side, is he saying this is like, part of your bucket list? Is he saying like, this is like your this is like an item on your monthly planner? It's just like, hey, can you put turning to the dark side in like a 5:00 slot next Wednesday? Does that work for you? No. When you use the word destiny, you're saying this is fate. Right? This is going to happen. This is in your future. It's definitely going to happen in your future. When you put manifest next to it, where was the only place that we heard the language of manifest or manifestation? The Bible, right? So something is revealed to you or unveiled or manifest to you. That's strong language, and it has very religious sort of sound to it, doesn't it? It sounds, sounds Bible-y. It almost sounds like God is the one revealing this destiny, this thing that will happen for us, to us. And that's in fact exactly what it's meant to conjure up for the original people, who would have been, it would have been more common language for them, right? I mean, we don't use the word manifest, and we only hear destiny in places like video games and Star Wars, right? So, but this is saying God's plan for America. God's plan for America that is just absolutely going to happen. It's in our fate. Is what? What does manifest destiny refer to? What is God's plan for America when people talk about manifest destiny? Trevor?
Just like own everything, just take over.
Yeah, to own everything, to settle in to everything. And now, not everything, to be fair. There are very specific, actually, parameters on Manifest Destiny. Those that use the language, that first came up with the language of Manifest Destiny, actually put very clear, like, here's where we know and will accomplish everything God wants to give us. What is it, Felix? From the Atlantic to Pacific, from sea to shining sea, right? That's a very Manifest Destiny line in that song. So this is the claim that the U.S. should / will, you could say shall, okay? Oh, you don't have this handout. This is why all the hands are coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll get there in a second, all right? So shall was a word that used to do this, but now we have this. So should, will, settle North America from the Atlantic to the Pacific. All right. Now, why do we want all of North America from the Atlantic to Pacific? What are the motivations for settling that land? Trevor?
Well, one reason could be that you wouldn't have anybody really to have like war with.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to like have war with yourself.
Okay, so to move away from conflict, all right? So to move away from conflict, good. Was that a problem? What kind of conflicts would arise? Now, I like that thought too, because I mean, you don't even necessarily need to think of a specific kind of conflict. There were certainly some that we're going to be able to identify here, but even just the kind of the good old American spirit of independence, right? I just don't need to be by other people because I don't need other people. On that last handout, we talked about the transcendentalists, right? And Henry David Thoreau just pulled himself away from society because I don't need other people. I don't need others to arrive at the truth. I certainly don't need any authorities or tradition. I can arrive at truth on my own, just from within. So that was certainly in the water at the time. People were thinking that, and that's a very American idea, just independence, living off the land, living by ourselves. So, yes. Now, what's another reason for going out there? Luke? For going west. For going Manifest Destiny. For settling. All right, agriculture. Okay, so more land, more money. So let's find some farmable land. Jonathan?
Well, like try to move away from factories, but even then, like if there's like a lot of noise, like move out of factories, like move off from that farm, and like children probably like because there would be no school.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yes.
Maybe like to be something like to believe in like religious.
Okay, so religious reasons. Okay, so we do, in fact, you guys have mentioned, you've covered at least something that touches on the three big reasons that people will go. Oh, yee. Yeah, flick that thing. All right. The three big reasons why people go. And we've already seen these three reasons. The first one is God. Okay? And so you have religious persecution. Maybe you're persecuted. for how you believe in God, what you believe about God. And so that might be a conflict like Trevor's mentioning that you could avoid, a religious freedom that you might get. So, we can go out there to be able to practice our religion how we want to. What group was going to seek to move west because of religious persecution? Felix? The Mormons. Okay, good. Mormons were one of those groups, kind of like the Transcendentalists, that definitely changed the gospel. Right? What they believe is not Christianity, but didn't do it from a rational. They're not like, hey, Christianity is not scientific enough for us. They did it from a much more romanticist approach. A big theme in there is this warm feeling in your heart. That's how you know something is true. And so, and they were definitely persecuted because they had some views that were not Christian. Yet they're going to claim Christian. They're going to claim Christianity for themselves. They're going to claim to be Christians. So that's going to lead to persecution. Yes?
Oh, what does it say? It says God/religious.
Persecuted. Religious persecuted. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Ooh, that eraser's huge. Sorry, persecution. Persecution. Thank you. It's always nice when they make sense. So Mormons are the ones escaping religious persecution. What's another religious reason, though, for going west? We've seen all of these reasons for going before. Yes?
To spread the gospel to Indians and stuff.
Spread the gospel, okay? Spread the gospel. What group of Christians, again with the writing things wrong, spread the gospel. What group of Christians is going to be one of the first to evangelize or to take the gospel out to the Oregon Territory? Jonathan? The Methodists, yes, the Methodists. And like we saw in the last handout, they're growing. They're one of those more free church groups like the Baptists. And so under a definition of faith that is more oriented around religious, private, personal experience, view of the church and dependence on church structure is going to be way downplayed. And so denominations that don't have a lot of emphasis on church structure are the ones that are really growing. And so Baptists and Methodists are those. So spread the gospel. The Methodists are doing that. And others after them, but the Methodists are the first. What's another reason? So we have God as a reason. What's another reason that people go? Yes?
They can make more money.
Make more money. And so if we want to make that match our what we have up there about God right now, we can be cute and say gold, right? Gold. Things that are valuable, right? Anything. Gold is anything worth money. So it might be literally gold. In fact, eventually that is going to become a very big reason, very urgent reason for moving west, is when literal gold is discovered in California. Let's before gold is discovered, what was one of the big resources that was discovered out west? Michael?
Iron?
No. Yeah.
Land?
No. Yes, sir.
Wood.
Nope. Yes. Yeah.
Like farmland.
No. No. That was a guess. So all these are true. I don't know about the iron, but I assume that there are iron.
Wood.
All right. And certainly lumber is going to be in the Northwest. The Northwest is certainly going to be a big lumber industry there. So, and farmland for sure. Trevor?
Oil?
Eventually, but not yet. Yeah. Michael? No. Man, you guys are... Felix? Silver will be later as well. Good, good. See, here's the thing, guys. Just because you're not giving me the answer I'm looking for doesn't mean they aren't great answers, okay? You guys you're thinking like historians here, okay? You're thinking like historians, and so that's good. It doesn't happen to be the first resource that they actually went for, but these are all great options. And so don't hear me say no and say, oh man, I shouldn't have raised my hand and said that. No, these are great suggestions. They just don't happen to be what the first one actually was. Luke? Fur. So some of these are fur, farming. Farming now, we need to be careful with farming because that's going to, think about a lot of the route out to Oregon, and much of the Oregon Trail is very mountainous and not a lot of farming. And so until you get to the Rockies, there's going to be some good farming. And then once you get past the Rockies, but up in the Pacific Northwest, up that far, you don't have a lot of great. No, I'm not going to say you don't have a lot of great farming. There's agriculture to be found in Oregon and modern day Washington. But it gets the strip of land, of fertile land between the Rockies and the ocean gets wider as you go south. And so California is going to be a lot better agriculture. But that's not part of Oregon. That's part of California, which you don't see on your map. What? Why don't we see California on the map? Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's keep looking here. Let's mention gold. Gold is discovered when? Discovered. Does that look like discovered? I tried to make even though it looks not very pretty, I tried to make the V and the E more readable. It's discovered in 1848, okay? Which, if you just said 1849, that's great, because that's when the gold rush is. It takes a while for news to get around, and so when, things don't happen overnight, right? And that's why the San Francisco football team are called the 49ers, if you didn't know.
They don't win overnight. It takes some years.
Or this year they don't win at all. But, yeah. Hey, but they've got a decent history. So we've got gold. What's another reason? What's another reason for going somewhere? Nothing? Growing crops. Well, that would be anything worth money. Growing crops would be money. So gold is going to include growing crops. But I like that. I like keeping the alliteration. In fact, this is going to start with a G as well. Ella Claire? Glory. All right. Remember when we talked about the Renaissance and exploration? America is discovered because people want God, gold, or glory. They want to share the gospel with these peoples, these natives in America. They want to find gold in the Americas, or they just want to get the Americas named after them, right? Because America is a guy's name, and so some explorer discovered Amerigo Vespucci. He got the continents named after him because so it's that kind of thing, and so it's fame, even just adventure. Or even like Trevor mentioned, just good old plain old American independence. I just want to be a self-made man. I mean, you live out here by myself, live off the land, and so there are a lot of resources to be had out here. Like you said, lumber, certainly fur, agriculture, okay, and especially in California. Looking at our map, we have this huge chunk that's missing. All right, so we see a lot of names that look familiar here. We've got, Missouri and Illinois and Indiana, Alabama and all this stuff. We see Texas, of course. Texas looks weird, though. It's got a panhandle that looks more like a panhandle, okay? And its panhandle is really wide, and so Texas looks a little weird, okay? But we have a Texas here, and even more importantly, we have an Iowa, okay? So that's like super, super important. Unfortunately, it's a territory here and not a state yet. So, but it actually becomes a state 1 year after Texas becomes a state. So this is coming soon. We're going to see that become a state. So rest assured, if you guys are stressed out here that Iowa's not a state yet, just it's going to be okay. All right. So, but we don't have this big chunk down here. Why not? What is there? Who owns that? Jack? Mexico. All right, which now here's the thing. Here's the one benefit. Just one benefit. But here's the benefit of the fact that you guys take a whole year of history to devote to your state's history. Okay, is that y'all are already accustomed. If you're seeing Texas on the map, you know that Mexico is a thing, right? That this isn't Spain anymore. But Mexico has won its independence because Mexico actually has to win its independence before Texas does, right? Because you all got your independence from Mexico, and so you're that's already on your radar, and you're like, I know that the big countries that would colonize the Americas would be England, France, and Spain, and it's not that far south. That's certainly not England. France is way off the colonization map at this point, but not Spain anymore, Mexico. So Mexico owns all that. So we want that, and we want to get that from Mexico. So here's the next question, is how are we going to get it? All right, how do we get all this land? Mexico owns it. So Mexico owns it and won't sell it. They're a little bit upset with us about some Texas disputes, right? You have this whole big section of Texas that is disputed because even the way that this map is drawn is a very America in 1846 way to draw the map. This is the way America would say, hey, in 1845, well, that's when we annexed it. But anyway, when we acquired Texas, what we acquired was this from the Red River down to the Rio Grande. Okay? And Mexico, after correcting our pronunciation of Rio Grande, they're going to say, no. What you acquired, the place that won their independence from us that you acquired is actually down to the Nueces River. Right? It's somewhere about like that. It's actually a pretty big disputed section. All right? And so you have this bit in here that Mexico thinks is Mexico, America thinks is Texas. And so that has created some contention, and that's one of the reasons Mexico doesn't want to deal with us. Okay? Yes, sir. You may. Well, there's also a bunch of dispute in California itself because just like we had settlers, American settlers in Spain / Mexico when it was in Texas, right? In what is today Texas, we had all kinds of American settlers before it was American, before it won its independence. We have the same thing going on in California because of the rich resources that are there, and so this is creating tension. So there's several reasons why tension is building between the United States and Mexico, but they certainly don't want to sell this land to us. And so what we're going to do is say, well, if they won't sell it to us, they're just going to force our hand. We just need to take it from them, okay? But it's not like we can just beat them up and take their lunch money, okay? That's like the definition of a bully. So if you want somebody's lunch money, all right, but don't want to just like walk up to them and beat them up and take it, okay, then you need to figure out a way to actually end up in a fight with them where you don't have to actually get blamed for starting the fight. Right? So you're going to walk up to them and you're going to be like, you just like maybe you bump into them and knock their books out of their hands. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? You're like, oh, what? Why are you so angry with me? What are you? Do you want to hit me? Are you trying to hit me, man? Don't hit me, right? And you like stick your chin out there, like, don't hit me right there on the chin, and so that maybe they'll start a fight, and then you could be like, oh, they started a fight, and then in the resolution of that, you can be like, I think that it's only fair that they give me their lunch money in exchange for my bruised chin, and then you end up with lunch money, right? Because Mr. Holland is accustomed to settle disputes that way, okay? Oh, you hit him? Give him some money. I'm just kidding. He doesn't do that. But that might be the way that this particular dispute might be resolved. In fact, that's what it's going to be, all right? So what we do is we have this nice little disputed area. Let's just send some troops down into that disputed area in Texas. So what we have here, what I'm about to describe, is the Mexican War, okay? The Mexican War, and it goes down like this. U.S. sends troops into disputed Texas. We're calling that disputed Texas because Mexico would not call it Texas. We would, and so it's a perfect place to kind of to pick a fight, right? And especially if we're building up a bunch of troops, then what does that look like to them? I mean, that's like us going, "Come at me, bro!" And so they're so I don't know why I had that voice. Come at me, bro! That's like a professional wrestler almost. I'm gonna take you down. Come on, Mexico, get in the ring. All right. So, U.S. sends troops into disputed Texas, and then so that when Mexico fires on them, hey, they fired the first shot, right? So, Mexico fires the first shot. Then we get to say, we didn't start that war, they did, right? They swung first. We were just defending ourselves, okay? We're just defending ourselves. And as proof that we were just defending ourselves, what are the terms of the treaty? First of all, what treaty ended the war? Jonathan?
Treaty of Guadalupe and then something else that starts with an H.
Yes, Treaty of Guadalupe and then something else that starts with an H. It's hyphenated. There's the H, there's the I, there's the D and the A and the L and the G and the O. Hidalgo. Guadalupe Hidalgo. I never know where the line is on how correctly to pronounce Spanish words, right? Because at some point it's going to be ridiculous. Okay, if you say like, I have a friend that lives in Colorado, right? And people are like, what? Why did you say it like that? Don't be ridiculous, right? But I mean, if that's how it's supposed to be, right? So, I don't know. So, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, to say it in a very gringish way, I think that's a word. All right, Guadalupe Hidalgo. All right, and then you have, I need to tell you what this does. So, in the treaty, this treaty that ends the war, it gives to the U.S. California, New Mexico, which consists of New Mexico. The New Mexico Territory is going to consist of Arizona, Nevada. Whoa, there's a Utah, Colorado, and of course, New Mexico. So California and everything else in that chunk, right? That's the quick way to say that. That's all the New Mexico territory. All right. So that's not the most convincing proof that we were just acting in self-defense, right? If the treaty at the end makes the United States acquire all this land, this is Mr. Holland. He punched me. Give me all of his grades for the quarter, please. Right? Like this is proving there was something. There was something that you wanted out of the whole deal, and the terms of the treaty are proof of what was actually at stake to begin with, right? So, all right. Then you have this other really interesting episode that I think y'all will find especially fascinating, being Texans, okay? Because California, all right, California is the only other state that might, whose residents might have as much state pride as y'all, okay? I've never met somebody from California who didn't let me know they were from California very early in the conversation, right? And weren't like, California is the best state in the world, right? So, which you all would be like, there's another state that actually thinks they're the best state? How ridiculous is that, right? Because you're all Texan. Also similar in California is the fact that here we have a war, okay, with Mexico, and before the United States shows up, right? So the president of this time is Polk, and he sends troops out there. Winfield Scott is the general of the war. Before troops show up, you have Fremont, who is a sort of militia. I don't know exactly his status at this point, but Fremont is going to. He leads just a few men, and Californians, a few of his own troops, and then the Californians themselves in a, oh gosh, we're going to run out of time, in a rebellion from Mexico. They have this battle, and they win it, okay? And so Fremont takes that as as them winning their independence from Mexico. And so he says, hey, we've just established our own republic. We have established the Bear Flag Republic. Right? Does that history sound kind of familiar to y'all? Right? A bunch of settlers in a Mexican territory rebelling against Mexico and winning their independence and forming their own republic. That's what the Bear Flag Republic is. Oh, yeah. So, California kind of wants to be like Texas, okay? Not as successfully. This isn't a real republic, okay? This is Fremont being cute, okay? I don't tell any Californians I said this, but nobody's recognizing the Bear Flag Republic as an independent nation that's going to be annexed as a territory, okay? The U.S. troops show up and they say, oh, you won a tiny little region of California because you won a battle? Good job, y'all. This is the United States, sorry. And so then it becomes U.S. territory, and then it becomes U.S. state in, I don't know, 50-something. All right. Okay, now, The last piece of this puzzle is something called the Gadsden Purchase. Gadsden Purchase. There's 2 D's. Gadsden Purchase.
2?
Yeah, Gadsden. Gadsden.
So,
Gadsden. There's a D there, and there's a D there. Gadsden. Can't you read that? Isn't that just clearly legible? Gadsden Purchase. So that's in 1853, and this gets a small strip of Arizona and New Mexico. And why the Gadsden Purchase is important? 2 reasons. It completes the continental U.S. So everything that is the continental U.S. as we know it today is owned by the U.S. after the Gadsden Purchase in 1853. No more continental expansion. Of course, territories and islands and stuff like that. The other thing is, why in the world do we want to buy this little piece of desert where nobody lives? Well, it's a flat piece of desert, and we want a transcontinental railroad. And we want to put it in the South. Wait, who's we? Who wants to put a transcontinental railroad in the South? The South. Okay, and so transcontinental railroad is going to be a big dispute that's going to bubble up into the dispute that we all see coming already anyway. All right, so possible railroad site. And that's the last thing that we want to know about that. And then you can pack up.